The Great Beasts of Eden, A Story of Dinosaurs, and the Bible. In the beginning there was only God, eternal, unchanging, and full of power and love. Before a single star shimmered in the sky, before a single mountain rose or bird sang, he had a plan. Then God spoke, "Let there be light." And so began time, the heavens, the earth, and all that would fill them. With each passing day of creation, God's voice sculpted the universe: land, sea, sun, moon, plants, and finally, animals. On the fifth day, he filled the skies with winged creatures and the oceans with teeming life. Great sea beasts, swift fish, and curious birds obeyed his word and sprang into existence. Then came the sixth day, when God made the land animals, and among them were creatures of such magnificence and might that they would later be called terrible lizards, dinosaurs. Towering over the trees, the plant-eating giants like sauropods roamed peacefully, munching on ferns and leaves. Swift-footed theropods darted through the underbrush. Some walked on 4 sturdy legs, while others reared up on 2. Their tails swayed like pendulums, their limbs were thick and strong, and their bones, like tubes of bronze, supported their massive forms. Among these stood the Behemoth, a mighty creature described by God himself in the book of Job. Its tail sways like a cedar. Its bones are tubes of bronze, its limbs like rods of iron. Job, a man who lived long after the flood, knew of this creature. He did not question its reality. Behemoth was a beast known to mankind, and in the waters even greater fear stirred. There swam the Leviathan, a sea monster so fierce that no spear or sword could pierce its hide. With a back like rows of shields and a breath that seemed to set coals ablaze, it was feared by all. When it rises up, the mighty are terrified. They retreat before its thrashing. The earth, still young and unmarred, was filled with wonder. Man and beast lived in peace, for death had not yet entered the world. The lion did not hunt the lamb, and the great dinosaur did not trample the field in violence. All creatures fed on plants as God had commanded. It was paradise. But this peace would not last. Tempted by the serpent, Adam and Eve disobeyed the Creator. Sin entered the world, and with it, death, decay, and the fall of all creation. No longer did animals walk in perfect harmony with man. Creation began to groan under the weight of the curse. Beasts grew wild, instincts changed, and survival replaced peace. Generations passed, and evil multiplied upon the earth. God, in his justice, saw that mankind's thoughts were continually wicked. Yet in the midst of darkness, one man found favor: Noah. To him God gave a mission: to build a great ark and gather 2 of every kind of land-dwelling, air-breathing animal, including the dinosaur kinds. Some scoff at the idea of dinosaurs aboard the ark, but the truth is simpler than many think. Of the hundreds of dinosaur names today, many represent just different varieties, genders, or growth stages of the same kind. There were not thousands, perhaps fewer than 50 distinct dinosaur kinds. And God, in his wisdom, could have sent young, smaller dinosaurs, ensuring room, food, and space for them to grow. Then the rains came. For 40 days and nights the skies poured, and the fountains of the deep broke open. Oceans rose, mountains sank. Great beasts, unable to board the ark, were buried under waves of water and mud. Their bodies were preserved, pressed into layers of earth that hardened over time, becoming the fossils we discover today. When the waters receded and the ark came to rest, the earth was changed forever. Forests were gone. The climate had shifted. The once lush world had become harsh, cold, and unpredictable. Dinosaurs that had survived the flood came out into a world that could no longer sustain them as before. Over time, they dwindled and disappeared, victims of a planet now subject to disease, hunger, and struggle. But their memory was not lost. All around the ancient world, stories began to circulate. Cultures from Europe to Asia to the Americas told of dragon-like beasts, some with wings, some that lived in lakes or breathed fire. Stone carvings and cave paintings from ancient peoples showed creatures that looked very much like dinosaurs. The truth, hidden in plain sight, was this: man remembered them. Some ask, why doesn't the Bible mention dinosaurs by name? But the word dinosaur wasn't invented until 1842, centuries after the Bible was written. Instead, Scripture speaks of great sea creatures, beasts of the earth, and specific names like Behemoth and Leviathan. And in those ancient descriptions, we see glimpses of creatures that fit no living animal today. Yet God's purpose for dinosaurs was not to confuse or distract us. Like every part of creation, they point to His power and creativity. Every fossil bone tells a story, not just of death, but of judgment, mercy, and purpose. We do not find millions of years etched into those bones. We find the result of a global catastrophe, the flood, that buried life quickly and completely. The Bible, when carefully studied, tells a consistent story. It tells us that all creatures, including dinosaurs, were made in the beginning by a creator who loved his work and called it very good. It tells us that sin broke that perfection, bringing death. And it tells us of the one way back through Jesus Christ, the Creator himself, who entered the world as a man, suffered, died, and rose again to conquer sin and death forever. So what became of the dinosaurs? They walked with man. They filled the earth before the flood. They rode out the storm in the ark. They faded in the centuries that followed. And now they rest in stone as a reminder of God's might, His judgment, and His mercy. And perhaps, just perhaps, in the world to come, where the lion once again lies with the lamb, and where death is no more, we'll walk beside the behemoth once again. In that place, the great beasts of Eden may rise not in terror but in peace, a reflection of the God who made them and us for His glory.